The first flush was supposed to make the whole bathroom laugh. Instead, it made 3 inmates realize the new black prisoner was not reacting like a frightened man. Marcus Hale was forced down beside the stainless steel prison toilet, one hand against the concrete floor. Cody Raines held his right arm. Brett Miller controlled the left. Behind them stood Tyler Voss, a heavily tattooed white inmate with thick shoulders and a reputation for humiliating newcomers. "Welcome to Westbridge," Tyler said. Marcus was 46, black, 6 feet tall, lean but solid, with close-cropped hair beginning to gray around the temples. He had arrived less than 8 hours earlier. Nobody on the tier knew much about him. That was exactly why Tyler had chosen him. Tyler pressed Marcus lower. "New guys learn the rules quickly around here." Marcus didn't beg. He didn't curse. He didn't thrash wildly. He breathed. Slowly. Controlled. Tyler frowned. "You still think you're tough?" Marcus stared at the rippling water beneath him. "No." Tyler smiled. Then he hit the flush lever. Water roared through the steel bowl while Cody and Brett laughed. Marcus closed his eyes for 1 second. Not from fear. He was counting. 3 attackers. 1 doorway. No camera inside the bathroom. Last officer passed roughly 10 seconds ago. Tyler directly behind him. Cody's grip weaker than Brett's. Marcus had spent years learning to notice details when everyone else was panicking. Tyler mistook that stillness for surrender. It was his first mistake. 20 minutes earlier, Marcus had entered housing unit be carrying his belongings in a transparent prison bag. 2 shirts, socks, soap, 3 envelopes. 1 photograph turned face down beneath everything else. Officer Daniel Mercer escorted him upstairs. "Keep your head down and finish your time, Hale." Marcus studied the tier. Men playing cards. Men watching television. Others trading food near the phones. Advice or warning? Marcus asked. "Both." Cell 214 belonged to Luis Mendoza, a 51-year-old inmate who had already served 9 years. Luis watched Marcus make his bunk. Perfect corners. Shoes aligned beneath the frame. Everything placed deliberately. "You military?" Marcus paused. "Why?" Luis pointed toward the bed. "Nobody makes a prison bunk like that unless somebody trained them." "Old habit." "What branch?" Marcus slid the photograph deeper into his bag. "Doesn't matter anymore." Luis understood. Then his expression became serious. "One thing does matter. Bathroom on this tier belongs to Tyler Voss after evening count." Marcus looked at him. "Bathrooms have owners?" Luis laughed softly. "You really are new." Tyler had spent 7 years building his reputation without ever becoming the strongest inmate in Westbridge. He didn't need to. He chose targets carefully. New arrivals. Older men. Prisoners close to release. Anyone with too much to lose by fighting back. Then he embarrassed them publicly. Fear did the rest. At 6:35 that evening, Marcus entered the bathroom carrying a towel. Cody was leaning beside the sinks. Brett stood near the exit. Tyler watched Marcus through the mirror. "You the new guy?" Marcus turned on the faucet. "That's what they tell me." "Name?" "Marcus." "I didn't ask your first name." Marcus looked at him through the reflection. "Then check the roster." Cody laughed. Tyler didn't. He stepped closer. "You got an attitude?" "No." "Then why are you looking at me like that?" "Like what?" Tyler had no answer. Marcus wasn't challenging him. But he wasn't looking away either. That bothered Tyler. "You used my sink." Marcus glanced at the 6 identical sinks. "There are 5 more." "That one is mine." Marcus dried his hands. "Then it's free now." He picked up his towel. Brett blocked the doorway. Marcus stopped. Behind him, Cody moved closer. Tyler smiled. "No cameras in here." Marcus glanced once toward the ceiling. "I noticed." The answer made Tyler hesitate. Most prisoners checked for cameras because they wanted someone to save them. Marcus sounded like he had simply confirmed a fact. Tyler shoved him. Marcus took 1 controlled step backward. Cody grinned. "Old man's scared." Marcus looked at Tyler. "Move him." "Or what?" "Or you're going to create a problem you don't understand." Tyler grabbed Marcus's shirt. Cody seized one arm. Brett took the other. Together, they forced him toward the toilet. "Let's clean that attitude off." Marcus could have resisted earlier. But something had caught his attention. Cody's hand was trembling. His breathing had become shallow. One pupil looked slightly different from the other. Marcus had seen those signs before. Tyler pushed him downward again. "Say you understand who runs this tier." Marcus lifted his head slightly. You don't. Tyler's smile vanished. What? You don't run anything. Suddenly Cody released Marcus. He staggered backward. His shoulder struck the stall divider. Cody. Brett said. Cody tried to answer. Then his body stiffened and he collapsed onto the floor. Everything changed. Marcus moved instantly. Don't hold him down. Brett reached toward Cody. Marcus pushed his hand away. Clear his head. Tyler, get an officer. Tyler stared at him. Go. Something in Marcus's voice erased the argument. Tyler ran. Marcus rolled Cody safely onto his side, protected his head and checked his breathing. Officer Mercer rushed in moments later. What happened? Possible seizure. Unequal pupils before collapse. Medical needs to see him immediately. Mercer stared at Marcus. How do you know that? Marcus said nothing. As medical staff lifted Cody onto a stretcher, Marcus reached forward to keep his arm from striking the rail. His sleeve pulled back. Mercer saw a faded military tattoo on Marcus's forearm. A small shield. A dagger. Numbers beneath it. Mercer's expression changed completely. Ale. Marcus slowly covered the tattoo. Mercer lowered his voice. You weren't regular army, were you? Across the bathroom, Tyler heard every word. Marcus picked up his wet towel. It doesn't matter anymore. But Tyler was staring at him differently now. And by the next morning, curiosity and wounded pride would push him into an even bigger mistake. By breakfast, the story had already changed 3 times. One version said Marcus Hale had been Army intelligence. Another said he had been a sniper. A third claimed he had once killed 6 men with his bare hands. Marcus ignored all of them. Rumors were dangerous because men eventually tried to prove them. Tyler Voss was exactly that kind of man. He sat across the cafeteria with Brett beside him, watching Marcus eat in silence. Cody was still in the medical unit. Luis leaned closer. You know Tyler's staring at you? I know. He heard Mercer asking about your tattoo. I know that too. Luis lowered his voice. What were you? Marcus set down his coffee. Someone who learned that curiosity gets people hurt. Across the room, Tyler stood. He didn't approach Marcus. That surprised everyone. Instead, he walked toward a young black inmate named Jamal Price. Jamal was 23, thin, quiet, and only 2 months from a parole hearing. Tyler took the carton of milk from Jamal's tray. Jamal kept his eyes down. Then Tyler took his bread. Still nothing. Marcus watched. Tyler smiled toward him. This wasn't about Jamal. It was bait. Don't, Luis whispered. Marcus kept eating. Tyler leaned over Jamal. What's wrong? You waiting for your new hero to save you? Jamal's jaw tightened. Marcus still didn't move. Tyler picked up Jamal's tray and carried it to another table. Breakfast tax. A few inmates laughed nervously. Jamal stood. Then sat again. 2 months from parole. Exactly the kind of target Tyler preferred. Marcus finally rose. Tyler smiled. There he is. Marcus walked past him. Straight toward the officer station. Tyler's smile faded. Marcus stopped in front of Officer Mercer. Jamal Price's tray was taken. Mercer looked over. You reporting another inmate? No. Sounds like it. I'm asking for another tray. Tyler laughed loudly behind him. Marcus continued. He's 2 months from a parole hearing. If he fights over breakfast, he risks everything. Mercer studied Marcus. And why is that your problem? Because someone is counting on him reacting. Mercer glanced toward Tyler. Then toward Jamal. A moment later he called the kitchen worker. Price gets another tray. Tyler's face hardened. Marcus returned to his seat. Luis stared at him. You didn't fight him. No. You didn't even confront him. That's what he wanted. Across the cafeteria, Jamal quietly received another breakfast. Tyler had created a trap. Marcus had stepped around it. That made Tyler angrier than losing a fight would have. Later that afternoon, Marcus was called to the medical unit. Cody was awake. The inmate who had helped humiliate him looked smaller in a hospital bed. A nurse finished checking his blood pressure and left. Cody wouldn't meet Marcus's eyes. Why'd you help me? Marcus remained near the door. You needed help. You could have let me choke. Yes. Cody finally looked at him. Tyler would have. Marcus believed him. Cody rubbed his trembling hand. They said seizure disorder. I stopped taking my medication. Why? Cody hesitated. Tyler takes part of everybody's commissary. I owed him. Sold the pills. Marcus said nothing. Cody's eyes filled with shame. He said if I didn't pay, Brett would tell people I was weak. Marcus pulled a chair closer. How many people does Tyler control like that? A lot. Through debts. Debts. Secret. Favors. Then Cody whispered something Marcus hadn't expected. He's not trying to fight you anymore. Marcus's eyes narrowed. What is he trying? To find out who you were. That evening, Marcus returned to his cell and found everything on the floor. Clothes pulled from the shelf. Mattress flipped. Letters opened. The photograph was gone. Marcus stopped in the doorway. For the first time since arriving at Westbridge, the calm left his face. Luis stood near the sink. I came back and found it like this. Marcus searched once. Then again. Where's the photograph? Luis shook his head. What was it? Marcus didn't answer. At recreation, Tyler was waiting near the basketball court. He held the photograph between two fingers. Marcus walked toward him. Slowly. Tyler smiled. Finally found something you care about. The photograph showed 7 soldiers standing beside a helicopter in a desert. Marcus was younger. Different. Combat uniform. Body armor. A medical pack strapped across his chest. Tyler turned the photograph around for the inmates nearby. Well, look at this. Brett leaned in. What unit? Tyler read the faded writing on the back. Task Force Raven. Afghanistan. The yard grew quieter. Marcus stopped 10 feet away. Give it back. Tyler looked delighted. There was emotion now. A pressure point. Or what? Marcus didn't answer. Tyler studied the photograph again. Which one of these guys didn't come home? Something changed in Marcus's eyes. Even Brett noticed. Tyler. But Tyler kept going. Come on, soldier. Tell us. Marcus stepped forward. Tyler held the picture higher. Maybe this guy? He pointed to a young soldier beside Marcus. Maybe he died because his medic wasn't good enough. Marcus moved. Not at Tyler. His hand shot up, caught the photograph cleanly, and pulled it away before Tyler could tear it. Tyler shoved him. Marcus absorbed the impact. No retaliation. Captain Elaine Foster, the unit supervisor, had just entered the yard. She saw the shove. Vos. Tyler immediately stepped back. Foster walked over. What's happening? Nothing, Tyler said. Marcus looked at the photograph in his hand. Then at Foster. He stole personal property from my cell. Tyler's face changed. Foster turned toward him. You entered another inmate's cell? He gave it to me. No, Luis called from behind them. Every head turned. Luis had followed Marcus outside. I saw Tyler coming off our tier before I found the cell trashed. Tyler stared at him. Luis had just crossed a line. Foster ordered officers to separate them. As Marcus was escorted away, Tyler called after him. Task Force Raven, huh? Marcus stopped. Tyler smiled. I'll find out what happened over there. Marcus looked back. His voice was quiet. You should hope you don't. Because the photograph did not hide the fact that Marcus had served. It hid why 17 soldiers once refused to call him Sergeant Hale. They called him something else. And Tyler was getting dangerously close to discovering it. Tyler spent the next morning using the one weapon Marcus could not take away from him. A prison phone. At 9:10, Tyler called his girlfriend and gave her one instruction. Search Marcus Hale. Afghanistan. Task Force Raven. By lunch, he had an answer. Not all of it. Just enough to make him dangerous. Marcus was sitting beside Luis when Tyler entered the cafeteria smiling. That smile told Marcus something had changed. Tyler sat 2 tables away and spoke loudly. Hey, Sergeant Hale. Several heads turned. Marcus continued eating. Tyler pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. My girl found an old newspaper article. Luis looked at Marcus. Marcus's fork stopped. Tyler began reading. Staff Sergeant Marcus Hale, Combat Medical Specialist. The room quieted. Tyler looked disappointed. A medic. Brett laughed. All that mystery and he was carrying bandages? Marcus looked up. Tyler had expected embarrassment. Instead, he saw something colder. Keep reading, Marcus said. Tyler hesitated. Then he did. During an attack in Kandahar province, Hale repeatedly entered an unsecured area to evacuate wounded personnel after his convoy. His voice slowed. The laughter disappeared. Tyler skipped several lines. Then his eyes found the number. 11. Marcus said nothing. Luis leaned closer. What 11? Tyler folded the paper. But it was too late. Marcus answered. 11 men came home. The cafeteria stayed silent. Brett tried to recover the joke. So you were some kind of hero? No. Marcus's voice was flat. I was doing my job. Tyler leaned forward. But 3 died. That sentence landed differently. Marcus stared at him. Tyler smiled again. There it is. He had found the wound. You couldn't save everybody. Marcus pushed his tray away. No. Must bother you. It does. Tyler had expected denial. The honesty confused him. Marcus stood. Every day. Then he walked away. No threat. No explosion. Nothing Tyler could use. But the article changed Westbridge. By recreation, inmates who had ignored Marcus were asking questions. Were you special forces? No. How many medals? Doesn't matter. Did you really go back under fire 11 times? Marcus finally stopped. I went back because people were waiting. Then he walked on. Luis caught up with him near the fence. Why hide that? Marcus looked across the yard. Because men hear military and start building stories. Some stories are true. Usually the wrong parts. Luis waited. Marcus finally spoke. People remember the 11. His eyes lowered. I remember the 3. That afternoon Captain Foster called Marcus into her office. Officer Mercer was already there. So was Cody. Cody looked nervous. Foster closed the door. Cody told us Tyler has been taking medication and commissary from inmates. Marcus looked at Cody. Cody stared at the floor. Foster continued. We can investigate, but people have to talk. They're afraid. Yes. Marcus understood what she was asking. No. Foster frowned. I didn't ask yet. You want me to convince them. You have influence. I have a reputation they invented in 48 hours. Mercer leaned against the wall. Sometimes that's enough. Marcus shook his head. If inmates speak because they think I'll protect them, you've just replaced Tyler with me. Foster studied him. Then what would you do? Give them a way to speak without needing me. That evening, Foster quietly placed sealed complaint forms in the library and medical unit. No officer from Housing Unit B would collect them. They would go directly to internal investigations. Nobody announced it. That was Marcus's condition. For the first 2 hours, the box remained empty. Then Cody submitted one. Luis submitted another. By lights out, there were 7. Tyler noticed. He didn't know what was inside the forms. But he knew who had changed the room. At 10:30, Marcus lay on his bunk when Luis whispered from below. He's losing control. That makes him more dangerous. You think he'll come after you? No. Marcus turned toward the darkness. He'll go after somebody who can't afford trouble. The next morning proved him right. Jamal Price was called from breakfast by an officer. His parole hearing had been postponed. Reason, an anonymous report accusing him of possessing contraband. Jamal stared at the paper. I don't have anything. Tyler sat across the room pretending not to watch. Marcus saw him. So did Cody. Jamal's cell was searched. Under his mattress, officers found a small packet of unauthorized pills. Jamal went pale. They're not mine. Nobody answered. A disciplinary charge this close to parole could cost him months. Maybe more. As officers led Jamal away, Tyler finally looked at Marcus. This time there was no smile. Only a message. Stop interfering. Or everyone around you pays. Marcus remained seated until the doors closed behind Jamal. Then he looked at Cody. Who can get those pills? Cody swallowed. Tyler. Only Tyler? No. Who else? Cody hesitated. Brett works laundry. Marcus understood immediately. Laundry carts entered every tier. Sheets. Uniforms. Towels. And sometimes things nobody was supposed to carry. For the first time, the problem was no longer about bullying. Someone was planting evidence. And Marcus knew exactly what mattered now. Not proving he could defeat 3 inmates in a bathroom. Proving who had been using fear to destroy men without ever throwing a punch. That night, he unfolded the old photograph. 11 men had come home because Marcus had refused to leave them behind. Westbridge was not Afghanistan. But the principle had not changed. Someone was waiting. And Marcus Hale was going back for him. Marcus did not accuse Brett. He watched him. That was the first rule he had learned in the military. When you suspect a route is compromised, you do not announce it. You observe who uses it, who avoids it, and who becomes nervous when the routine changes. At 6:20 the next morning, Marcus stood outside the laundry room pretending to wait for clean uniforms. Brett pushed a cart through the corridor. Sheets on top. Towels underneath. Marcus noticed Brett stop twice. Once outside Tyler's cell. Once outside the officer's storage room. Neither stop lasted more than 10 seconds. Luis approached from behind. You were right. Marcus kept his eyes on the cart. About what? Brett's been making special deliveries for months. How do you know? My old cellmate worked laundry. He got transferred after refusing to carry something. Transferred where? Segregation first. Different prison after that. Marcus finally looked at him. Name? Eddie Lawson. Can Foster contact him? Luis hesitated. If he'll talk. That's enough. An hour later, Captain Foster listened while Marcus explained what he had seen. You want me to search Brett? No. Foster frowned. You think he's moving contraband? I think if you search him now, Tyler learns somebody is watching. So what do you suggest? Change one thing. What? The laundry route. Foster understood slowly. You want to see who reacts. Marcus nodded. At noon, an announcement came over the unit speakers. Due to maintenance, laundry carts would no longer enter individual housing tiers. Inmates would collect clean clothing from a supervised distribution point near the gym. The reaction was immediate. Most prisoners complained. Brett went pale. Tyler stopped talking. Marcus saw both. That evening, Cody approached Marcus near the library. He knows. Knows what? That somebody's closing the routes. Did he say my name? No. Cody swallowed. He said if Jamal talks, Jamal never sees parole. Marcus's expression hardened. Where's Jamal? Still in segregation. Then Tyler can't reach him. Cody shook his head. He doesn't need to. Marcus waited. Brett's cousin works kitchen detail near segregation. Messages go through food trays. The system was larger than Marcus had thought. Not stronger. Just wider. At 8 o'clock the next morning, Captain Foster received a call from another facility. Eddie Lawson was willing to talk. He described Brett using laundry carts to move pills, stolen commissary, and handwritten threats between units. More importantly, Eddie remembered one detail. Tyler never stored anything in his own cell. He used other prisoners. People close to release. People with medical problems. People too frightened to complain. Exactly like Jamal. Foster leaned back in her chair. This helps. It doesn't clear Jamal. No. Then we need the person who planted the pills. Mercer looked toward Marcus. You planning something? No. Marcus paused. I'm giving Tyler a choice. That afternoon, Marcus entered the recreation yard alone. Tyler stood near the fence with Brett. Marcus walked directly toward them. For the first time since the bathroom incident, he initiated the conversation. Jamal gets cleared. Tyler smiled. You giving orders now, Sergeant? No. Good. Marcus stopped 3 feet away. You planted pills in his cell because you wanted me to react. Tyler spread his hands. Can you prove it? Not yet. Tyler laughed. Then we're done. Marcus didn't move. But I know Brett used laundry carts. Brett's face changed. Tyler noticed. That tiny reaction told Marcus everything he needed. Marcus continued. Eddie Lawson is talking. Brett looked at Tyler. Tyler's smile disappeared. You're lying. Maybe. Marcus turned as if to leave. Tyler caught his shoulder. Marcus stopped. Every instinct in the yard expected violence. Marcus simply looked down at Tyler's hand. Tyler removed it. You think you're smarter than me? No. Marcus faced him again. I think you've been comfortable too long. Tyler stepped closer. What do you want? Tell Foster the pills weren't Jamal's. And if I don't? Marcus's voice remained quiet. Then Brett decides whether he wants to carry your sentence with his. Brett stared at him. Tyler turned sharply. Don't listen to him. Marcus looked at Brett. Eddie remembers dates. Foster has laundry schedules. Cameras cover the corridors even if they don't cover the bathroom. Brett's breathing changed. Tyler grabbed his shirt. Shut up. Marcus saw the fracture happen. Not between himself and Tyler. Between Tyler and the man who had protected him. Brett pushed Tyler's hand away. Why should I go down for you? The yard went silent. Tyler stared at him. You serious? You told me nobody would ever check those carts. Keep your mouth shut. You planted Jamal's pills yourself. The sentence exploded across the yard. Brett realized what he had said 1 second too late. Captain Foster stepped from behind the recreation gate.
Officer Mercé Besider.
2 investigators followed. Tyler's face emptied. Marcus had never needed a confession from Tyler. He only needed Tyler frightened enough to pressure the wrong man in front of witnesses. Foster approached. Brett Miller, Tyler Voss, both of you against the fence. Tyler didn't move. His eyes stayed on Marcus. You set me up. Marcus shook his head. No. He glanced toward Brett. You did. Brett was handcuffed first. Then Tyler. But as Mercer reached for Tyler's wrist, Tyler suddenly twisted away and backed toward Marcus. You think this ends because they put cuffs on me? Mercer ordered him against the fence. Tyler ignored him. His face was no longer mocking. It was desperate. You came in here pretending you didn't want trouble. You've been tearing everything apart since day one. Marcus looked at him steadily. I never touched your operation. You turned everybody against me. No. Marcus's voice dropped. I showed them they could stop being afraid. For the first time, Tyler had no answer. The cuffs closed around his wrists. But before officers took him away, he leaned toward Marcus. You saved 11 men in Afghanistan, right? Marcus's eyes narrowed. Tyler smiled one last time. Tomorrow everybody finds out what happened to number 12. Marcus went completely still. Luis saw it from across the yard. So did Mercer. Because there had never been a number 12 in the newspaper article. And somehow Tyler knew the one part of Marcus Hale's past that Marcus had spent 17 years trying to bury. By morning, everyone in Housing Unit B had heard Tyler's last sentence. Ask him what happened to number 12. Nobody knew what it meant. Marcus did. He sat on the edge of his bunk holding the old photograph while Luis watched from across the cell. Who was 12? Marcus remained silent for a long time. Then he turned the photograph over. A name had been written beneath the faded date.
Evan Brooks.
He was 22, Marcus said. Combat engineer. First deployment. Luis waited. The article says you brought 11 men home. I did. And Evan. Marcus looked down. I reached him too late. The attack 17 years earlier had torn Marcus's convoy apart. He had moved between damaged vehicles treating wounded men while evacuation helicopters circled overhead. 11 survived. 3 were killed immediately. Evan was different. Evan had still been alive. Marcus found him trapped behind twisted metal, conscious and terrified. I promised him I'd come back. Marcus swallowed. But another vehicle caught fire. 5 wounded men were closer to it. He had been forced to choose. Marcus evacuated them first. By the time he returned to Evan, the young soldier had stopped breathing. I spent 17 years wondering whether I chose correctly. Luis shook his head. You saved 5 people. That doesn't make one death disappear. That was the part Tyler's girlfriend had discovered on an old veterans forum. One survivor had written about the 12th man coach never stopped carrying. Not a scandal. A wound. But Tyler believed shame could still become a weapon. At 10 o'clock, Captain Foster summoned Marcus to the administrative wing. Tyler was already there behind a glass partition. Brett sat in another interview room. 2 investigators had spent the night comparing laundry schedules, camera timestamps, medical records, and Cody's testimony. Foster placed a folder on the table. Jamal Price has been cleared. Marcus's shoulders loosened. The pills. Brett admitted putting them there. He says Tyler ordered it. And Jamal's parole hearing? Being restored to the calendar. That mattered more to Marcus than anything else in the folder. Foster continued. 17 inmates submitted statements overnight.
17.
3 days earlier, most would not even say Tyler's name. Now they were speaking without Marcus beside them. That was the victory he had wanted. Foster glanced toward the glass. Tyler also requested that we investigate you. Marcus almost smiled. For Afghanistan? He claims you concealed something about your military service. Marcus looked through the partition. Tyler was watching him. Waiting. Foster said, You're not required to explain your service history to another inmate. I know. Marcus stood. But I'm tired of letting him think this belongs to him. That afternoon, recreation was held under increased supervision. Marcus walked into the yard. Conversations stopped. Tyler was being escorted across the opposite side for transfer to administrative segregation. When he saw Marcus, he smiled. Tell them, Sergeant. Officers kept moving. Tyler raised his voice. Tell everybody about number 12. Marcus could have ignored him. Instead, he stepped toward the center of the yard. His name was Evan Brooks. Silence spread. Tyler's smile weakened. Marcus continued. He was 22 years old. I promised I would come back for him. Men gathered slowly. I went to 5 other wounded soldiers first. Marcus's voice remained steady, but his eyes did not. When I returned, Evan was dead. Nobody laughed. Tyler tried anyway. So the great war hero left somebody behind. Marcus looked directly at him. Yes. The answer destroyed Tyler's attack. No denial. No excuse. No anger. Marcus continued. I made a decision in seconds that I've questioned for 17 years. He looked around the yard. That's what service taught me. Not how to beat 3 men in a bathroom. Not how to look dangerous. His eyes returned to Tyler. It taught me that strength does not protect you from consequences. Tyler's expression tightened. Marcus stepped closer, stopping well outside the officer's reach. You wanted my past because you thought everybody has one secret that can make them kneel. He shook his head. Some memories hurt because they matter. That isn't weakness. Nobody moved. Then Cody stepped forward. The same white inmate who had helped hold Marcus beside the toilet. You saved me. Marcus looked at him. Cody touched his own chest. After what I did to you. You were having a seizure. You could have walked away. Marcus answered simply. That would have made me someone I didn't want to be. Tyler looked around. Brett had confessed. Cody had turned against him. Jamal had been cleared. The inmates he controlled were submitting statements. Even the secret he had saved for his final humiliation had failed. There was nothing left. Officer Mercer guided him toward the gate. Tyler stopped once. Why didn't you fight us that first night? Marcus looked toward him. Because I knew I could. Tyler frowned. That's exactly why I didn't need to. The gate closed behind him. 2 weeks later, Jamal Price attended his restored parole hearing. 3 months after that, he walked out of Westbridge. Cody returned to Housing Unit B with his medication supervised through the medical department. Brett lost his laundry assignment and faced additional disciplinary charges. Tyler remained under investigation for extortion, contraband trafficking and intimidation. Marcus stayed in cell 214. Nothing about his sentence disappeared because people now knew his past. That suited him. He had never wanted another medal. But something changed inside Westbridge. Captain Foster asked Marcus to help start a voluntary first aid and crisis response class. No fighting techniques. No combat stories. Just bleeding control, seizure response, breathing, emergency communication, and one rule Marcus repeated every session. When panic enters the room, somebody has to stay useful. Cody attended the first class. So did Luis. Eventually, 20 inmates did. Months later, Marcus walked past the same bathroom where Tyler, Brett, and Cody had once forced him toward the toilet. A new prisoner stood at the sinks while 2 older inmates passed behind him. Nobody blocked the door. Nobody claimed a sink. Nobody laughed. Marcus continued walking. He had entered Westbridge with everyone wondering what kind of soldier he had once been. They eventually learned the answer. Not the most violent man. Not the most fearless. The man who kept going back for people. Even when he could not save them all. And especially when they had done nothing to deserve saving.